Hello guys, my name is HunterKill101 and today I'll be casting a game of Ryze, the rogue mage, who has very incredibly powerful spells. His first ability is called Overload, which Ryze throws a charge of pure energy at enemy target, dealing heavy damage and also passively decreases his cooldown reduction. And his second spell is Rune Prison, which traps an enemy, disabling him from moving, dealing damage over time, and it also deals damage based on Ryze's maximum mana. The third spell is Spell Flux, which basically shoots an orb that bounces from target to target, reducing magic resistance and dealing damage, possibly hitting the same target 3 times. The last spell is Desperate Power, which is a sort of a passive buff, but when it's in use, all your spells get spell vampirism, and they basically cause area of effect damage. And this spell passively gives you a maximum mana. So here I'm going to be casting a game of me playing as Ryze, with Nunu, Akali, Caitlyn, Malzahar, and me playing as Ryze versus Pantheon, Shen, Teemo, Morgana, and Misfortune. So the enemy team is kind of, I got lucky this game because the enemy team didn't have a tank to absorb all my spell damage. So Ryze excels in this, dealing a lot of damage and being a nuker. And his passive, basically, every time he uses a spell, it decreases his cooldowns of all his other spells by 1 second. Now this is very useful when it comes to late game, where basically the amount of spells you cast will show who's victorious. So Overload basically has a 3-second cooldown at start, and if you continually use your spells combined with Desperate Power, Spell Flux, and Rune Prison, you can basically spam your abilities non-stop for about 5 full seconds until you actually have to wait for cooldowns. So here I decided to pick out a Sapphire Crystal and 2 health potions because Sapphire Crystal will give me enough mana. At the very beginning of the game, Ryze's abilities are very, very mana hungry, and unless you compensate that in the mid game, then you're probably going to be screwed, and you're going to build Ryze wrong. And I still got the Sapphire Crystal because Ryze's his first 2 spells basically increase damage based on his maximum mana. And it's actually more cost effective to buy at maximum mana than ability power, because ability power gives him very little additional damage. So my build basically focuses around magic penetration and max mana and a little bit of ability power based on mana as well. So basically half the things that Ryze is very good at is basing his spells on mana. As long as you get your mana to about 3k in the late game, you'll be fine and you'll never probably ever run out. So I decided to get Flash and Ignite because in the very beginning I knew that I wouldn't buy boots, and I would really need a quick getaway in case me and Nunu apparently want to go in the bush and there's enemies there waiting for us to trap us. But we don't know that, so I decided just to take it, and it'll save me a lot of time. It'll save me a lot of deaths later on in this video because I actually flash away to safety. Now I pick Ignite because usually when you get enemies down to low health by the turret, you just ignite them and do another overload, and that will usually kill them when you already reach them at like 200 health. And the reason I bought 2 health potions was because in case, again, Ryze is very mana hungry, and although I don't use health potions to their full potential, it's still very useful when you take some damage in an unresolved fight. You might as well heal up and to avoid dying quickly, because if Ryze dies, if any character or champion dies in the very beginning, it'll set you back a long way, as well as give the enemy first blood money, and yeah, that's bad. So Ryze is basically what his role in laning is that he I chose Overload first because it has a 3-second cooldown, so I can continually harass the enemies and be able to cool it down quickly and actually participate in team fights a lot more. So here I'm trying to focus Misfortune down, who if you focus her down, she doesn't have much magic resist, and with all my runes and all that, I already have about 10 spell penetration at the start of the game. And she's got about 16, so I penetrate basically almost 2/3 of her magic resist, so my spells do additional damage to her, so I'm trying to target her. And Nunu here was a real help because he was kind of absorbing all the damage, and at the same time his abilities allowed him to heal by biting a chunk out of a minion. And this combination really works out well, Nunu and Ryze, because Nunu later on has the slow, and Ryze can quickly nuke them, as well as the Nunu's ultimate will do a heavy blast of cold damage to the enemy. So at level 2 you might want to unlock Rune Prison next, because Rune Prison basically allows you to trap enemies, and I'll show you here in a second. But as long as you use your mana wisely, you'll be fine. But if you use your mana sparingly, or you just use it on minions at the very beginning, it's pretty bad. So the third spell I unlock is Overload again, so it gives me additional damage and cooldown reduction. So the reason I did this was to have more damage per second from spells. I don't know if there's a different name for this, but damage per second for spells is very useful. So here, I think I Rune Prison someone here. Let's just see. No, I still harass Misfortune to a low health point, but she's still got a health potion, but it's alright. We'll eventually get him. So here, I Rune Prison Misfortune, and basically, yeah, I kind of missed that, but she died because Nunu used the Ignite on her. So, as I said, Ignite is very useful in case enemies have Flash, and they're at low health. To just Ignite them, and they'll Flash away, and they'll waste Summoner ability as well as Death. So here we only have Shen, and I thought that I might as well use all the rest of my mana and go back and regenerate, because after you get a kill, you might want to go back and regenerate a very like early to mid game, because Ryze's mana isn't that high for you to last out whole fights and actually like conserve your mana. Clarity would be good for this character, but I just don't recommend it because it's only hard in the beginning. If you use your mana wisely, you'll be fine. If you get enough money for Tear of the Goddess at the very beginning, which is why I bought Sapphire Crystal as well, then you can get, every time you use an ability, you'll get maximum mana, and by the mid game, you'll have so much mana that you'll actually like quadruple your basic spell damage that you do from Spell Flux and Rune Prison, and with Desperate Power on, you'll also be able to heal yourself. So here, Misfortune tries to get me, but I have a little bit of mana left to scare her off with Overload. So here I go back to actually go regenerate my mana, which I only have 675. I have no runes on mana regeneration, and we still did pretty well with Nunu as long as we conserve our mana and use it wisely and try to focus down one of the champions. Here I buy a mana potion because I'm kind of low in mana, buy another health potion just in case, buy Tear of the Goddess, and that's it. That basically gives me more mana and more mana regeneration, so I'll be able to participate more in team fights. And Nunu's here kind of injured, so I thought that I would have to solo a bit, but he has I forgot that he has ability to heal himself, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, here at the top we have Akali and Caitlyn harassing Pantheon, so he's probably going to die, giving our team another kill. And here I walk back. Ryze is pretty slow. I would recommend teleport instead of flash if you know how to watch your footing or where you run into, if you know how to observe the battlefield clearly, or I don't know, if you just have very good intuition, which is probably usually map hacks that some people say intuition is basically map revealers. So here I Rune Prison Misfortune, and I spell Flux her, and that causes a lot of damage, and she's already at half health from full health. I continually harass Shen with Spell Flux to try to keep them at bay. And notice how I don't get Overload yet. Notice how I don't get my third Spell Flux yet, because it isn't as useful yet, because they have pretty low magic resistance, so me reducing their magic resistance using my Spell Flux orb isn't really that important. But with Overload, it actually deals a lot of damage. So it basically takes 10% of my maximum mana and converts it into damage. So right now I have a 910, so that would be additional 9. I think my math is wrong, but that would be an additional 91 damage. Yeah, 91 damage. So at rank 1 or 2, it does about 130. So plus 91, it's already 200. And with a 3-second cooldown, that's one of the most powerful spells in the very early game for you to get kills and can actually. So here I Rune Prison him, Overload. My Overload gets recharged again. Shoot another Overload. Me and Nunu try to catch up, but he gets away. So we just try to get Misfortune again. Here I flash out of the way with 27 health, so one shot more would have killed me, and that's why I take Flash, because Ryze is a pretty slow champion. Even if you get him with boots of any boots, basically, he is decently slow, so you won't be able to escape combat as easily, and that's why I get Flash to get out of the way. I'd rather not feed them additional kills, and I would rather basically kill them instead of them killing me. That's kind of life for you. Don't want to get killed, kill other people, and that's basically video game life, not real life. So here I decide to choose some boots, basically basic boots, because I didn't have enough money for much else. Notice how I weighted the spawning pool a bit more, because I'd rather have that extra speed and but delayed 5 seconds to go into my tower. But the speed that I'll get will actually make up in time from me walking to the tower without my boots, or me waiting like 5 seconds to buy my boots and then walking there. So it'll make up, and plus I have additional speed, so I can catch up to Shen and Misfortune easily. So at the top here we have a gank here apparently, and Teemo won't probably hold out. He's probably gonna die if anyone goes for the dive. So here I haven't unlocked Spell Flux yet, my third spell, but I was thinking about saving it and using all my mana on actually killing Misfortune and Shen. But when you get Tear the Goddess, this is what you want to do. If you want some extra money and mana, basically try to one-hit minions with your Overload, your first spell, and that way you will get additional mana. So see, I was at 890 before, now I'm 950, and yeah. So level 6, you might want to take Desperate Power, which is your last ultimate. It doesn't deal extra damage, but it's very useful for clearing out minion waves and healing yourself during battles. Because of that spell Vampirism. I'm yawning here. And Misfortune here is like wise enough to stay by her turret, otherwise we probably would have done 50% damage to it by now. But basically, I think I used already my ultimate here, and my ultimate is really useful. Although it doesn't do much damage, it can heal you quite a lot at mid game because you do incredibly high damage compared to other players if you are at least like fed with 1 kill, or you use your Tear the Goddess to maximum. And with Desperate Power, you'll be able to heal yourself and basically cause area effect, which will allow you to clear minion wave, get more money, which you then spend on more mana regeneration or more mana, and that increases your spell power. So the cycle goes on, and yeah. So here I was just trying to get Shen. I use my Rune Prison, and I get the kill with the final Overload spell, spell 1. So here I'm kind of low on mana, and I already used my mana potion during the last fight by the tower. So I decided you should at this point go back, but it's up to you what you want to do. But I would just go back and refill my mana. So when Shen comes, you'll have full mana to deal with him and harass him, and you'll be basically prepared. But here I was trying to save up for Boots of Sorcery, which will give me additional 20 magic penetration. So to my 10 from runes I already have, it'll be 30. So it'll basically completely negate Misfortune's magic resist, and I think it should most like 90% negate Shen's magic resistance. I didn't really check his magic resistance at the start, but. So I take 2 additional mana potions because I know I'll be mana hungry and I would really like some extra kills. So on in the top right, you can see that I have 1 kill and 0 deaths and 1 assist. So this is good. I'm getting fed a bit. I should be able to do a lot of damage. So the only thing I was worried about now was that if Pantheon does times a very good ultimate jump, he can actually flank anywhere, and he might actually kill me, and I don't like to be killed. So that's why I waited for my flash to recharge before I actually go and try to dive that turret for Shen, or do at least some spell damage. So here I'm just trying to get those last hit kills from minions, as well as increase my maximum mana. So here I haven't actually bought any maximum mana, but from 890 I already have 1200. So over time, Tear the Goddess's maximum effect is 1000 mana, and this is really useful. So here I throw my last Overload, get the kill, and Nunu takes a bit of damage from the turret here, but he survives, and he goes heals himself. We take out the turret to about 25%, I think, before Misfortune, or I think we take it out here. I'm not sure. Oh no, Misfortune came, so we decided to back off because Nunu was pretty injured, and I would rather not. So I just spell flux him. Overload him. Didn't want to use my Rune Prison because it has a pretty long cooldown, and I'd rather use it in dire situations. So yeah, this will basically Pantheon here. As I said, he jumps, so I Rune Prison him, and that helps him get out of range of Nunu, even though. So here, oh no, they kill Nunu, but I tried to go in there. That was a bad choice because now I get totally killed by 3 champions, and yeah. So that's my first death, but compared to other characters, Ryze is pretty fed. Well, I am pretty fed, but so this will be the end of part 1, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed my video of part 1. Tell me how you like the new introductions, because I'm not sure if you guys like them or not, if I should continue them and waste my time, or it's really useful for you guys. But I will basically tell everything in the next video, so please comment and subscribe if you want more videos, and thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you. See you guys.